And then we'll begin. All right. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, His Holiness YADUNANDANA SWAMI MAHARAJ. And all glories to assembled Vaishnava devotees. Devotees, we thank you all for being here today as always. We're very much fortunate. We have His Holiness YADUNANDANA SWAMI MAHARAJ with us today, who will be speaking to us from the Nectarian Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore, we encourage you devotees to be very, very rapt attentive. And also, if possible, please you turn on your cameras so Maharaj may see your beautiful and blossoming faces. So again, thank you so much, Maharaj. And we may put the verse on the screen and then you take it over from here, Maharaj. Hare Krishna, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Chayam Mudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavake Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram Vanchakalpa Tarupyascha Kripa Sindupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanepyo Vaishnavepyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, thank you very much for being present for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class organized online by Hare Krishna Africa. Today we are reading from the third canto, chapter 5, text 47. This is a conversation between Mahatma Vidura and the sage Maitreya Rishi. And we're in the end of the chapter after Maitreya Rishi has described about creation and the demigods, the devatas, having the need of help from the Lord to perform their duties of sustaining the universe or helping the Supreme Lord to take care of the different aspects of the universe. The demigods are offering prayers. And this is today's verse. The demigods are speaking. Tata pare chatma samati yoga balena chitva prakritim balishtam tvameva dhira purusham vishanti tesham shramaksyan natu sevayate. Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. Others who are pacified by means of transcendental self-realization and have conquered over the modes of nature by dint of a strong power and knowledge also enter into you. But for them, there is much pain, whereas the devotee simply discharges devotional service and thus feels no such pain. Srila Prabhupada's purport. In terms of a labor of love and its returns, the bhaktas or devotees of the Lord always have priority over persons who are addicted to the association of jnanis or impersonalists and yogis or mystics. The word apare, others, is very significant in this connection. Others refers to the jnanis and the yogis, whose only hope is to merge into the existence of the impersonal Brahmajyoti, although their destination is not so important in comparison to the destination of the devotees. The labor of the non-devotees is far greater than that of the bhaktas. One may suggest that there is sufficient labor for the devotees also in the matter of discharging devotional service, but that labor is compensated by the enhancement of transcendental pleasure. The devotees derive more transcendental pleasure while engaged continuously in the service of the Lord than when they have no such engagement. In the family combination of a man and a woman, there is much labor and responsibility for both of them. Yet, when they are single, they feel more trouble for want of their united activities. The union of the impersonalist and the union of the devotees are not on a par. The impersonalists try to fully stop their individuality by attaining Sayujya Mukti, or unification by merging into oneness. Whereas the devotees keep their individuality to exchange feelings in relationship with the Supreme Individual Lord. Such reciprocation of feelings takes place in the transcendental Vaikuntha planets, and therefore the liberation sought by the impersonalist is already achieved in devotional service. The devotees attain mukti automatically while continuing the transcendental pleasure of maintaining individuality. As explained in the previous verse, the destination of the devotees is Vaikuntha or Akunta Vishnya, the place where anxieties are completely eradicated. One should not mistake the destination of the devotees and that of the impersonalist to be one and the same. The destinations are distinctly different, and the transcendental pleasure derived by the devotee is also distinct from chin matra or spiritual feelings alone. Verse and translation again. Sanskrit, yes. Tatha pare chatma samadhi yoga balena jitva prakritim balishtam tvameva dhira purusham vishanti tesham shramasyan natu sevayate. Others were pacified by means of transcendental self-realization and have conquered over the modes of nature by dint of a strong power and knowledge also enter into you. But for them, there is much pain, whereas the devotee simply discharges devotional service and thus feels no such pain. So the demigods here are very clearly explaining the difference, or one of the important differences between the process of bhakti and other processes of self-realization, such as jnana and yoga. Bhakti is also jnana and yoga, in that bhakti is the origin of jnana, of transcendental knowledge. For instance, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find the verse, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Chanayati Ashu Vairakyam Jnanam Chayat Ahaitukam. That for a person who offers bhakti to Sri Krishna, to Vasudev, the omnipresent Supreme Personality of Godhead, knowledge and detachment develop in a natural way. These are byproducts. Knowledge is also one of the angas, or the aspects of Bhakti Yoga. For instance, in the end of Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna states that whoever studies this sacred conversation worships me with his intelligence. So that's also the use. This will be an example of jnana as one of the angas, or the aspects, the limbs of bhakti. And yoga is also there, it's also naturally manifested by dint of love. For instance, if we will give an example, an earthly example of human beings, but not only human beings, also demigods in the heavenly planets may experience similar in a demigod fashion. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a man and a woman feeling attracted to each other and sharing responsibilities, and for them it's not painful to take responsibility because they feel they have loving feelings for each other. So naturally it is what is called in the beginning of the purport. Also Srila Prabhupada writes about a burden of love. So there is the burden of love. So when there is love, there is no burden. Or for instance, like the mother when the mother is taking care of the child, the baby, even the baby cannot clean himself or herself, a little baby, the mother, and then also the father and even the elder brothers and sisters. I remember when I was a child, I have a younger sister, so I was helping my mother to take care of my little sister, and I was helping to clean the stool. Of when she passes stool, I will be cleaning. So that will be like a very, and this will be something natural, because when there is affection, then there is no problem. We feel fine to do things which normally will be considered not so tasty or so pleasing. So similarly, when there is bhakti, there is also absorption. And you will remember that in the process of Ashtanga yoga or mystic yoga, as mentioned here in the verse, Atma Samadhi Yoga. It is speaking about transcendentalists who practice to attain the Samadhi Yoga. Samadhi means full absorption on the object of meditation. The sage Patanjali, in his Yoga Sutras, has referred to different types of samadhi according to the object of meditation, and different types of powers that arise from different forms of meditation. So like that, like for instance, by meditating, no, I don't remember all the different types of mystic powers with preciseness, but for instance, if someone is meditating on the Earth planet and gets absorption on the Earth planet, for instance, may attain steadiness and strength, because we'll be like rooted and become strong. Like also meditating on the sun and becoming absorbed in samadhi or complete absorption on the sun, someone can attain a very healthy type of body, because the sun rules one of the aspects that the sun rules is health. Therefore, when people practice yoga asanas, there is one table of asanas named Surya Namaskar. By offering these yoga asanas as obeisances to Surya Dev, then the person becomes naturally healthy. The sage Patanjali, nevertheless, has stated, Samadhi Siddhir Ishvara Pranidhanat, that the perfection of Samadhi is attained by Ishvara Pranidhana, that is, surrender unto the Ishvara, unto the Supreme Lord, unto the Paramatma. So like as mentioned here, Atma Samadhi Yoga, practiced by Gyanis and yogis who perform severe austerities, Krichra, as mentioned also by Lord Brahma in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Aruhya Krichrena Parampadam Tata. So the transcendentalists who have not surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord, they perform Krichra. Krichra means severe austerities, such as the lunar penance, as observed in Chaturmasya. Sometimes some devotees may do it as an offering to Krishna, But many times devotees may not take too extreme austerities, or if they do it as a burden of love, and therefore it is not, doesn't produce suffering, as mentioned in today's verse, for jnanis and yogis. For jnanis and yogis, there is an endeavor to keep the mind fixed by mechanically controlling the vital force, practicing different types of pranayama, and in this way focusing on the object of meditation or on their specific goals. Like here in today's purport, it is mentioned about those who want to become one with God, want to attain sayujya mukti, or ekatvam, becoming one with God, merging into the transcendental Brahmajyoti, the divine light of Brahman, of the Supreme. But for a devotee, it is different. Like going back to the metaphor of the man and the woman who feel affection for each other, they naturally become absorbed. Like we see, especially in young boys and girls, when they feel in love with one another, they cannot think of anyone else. Of course, now in the present times, things have become, we could say, more degraded in terms of less subtle and less romantic, and people may not be loyal even in such relationships. But normally, when it is a genuine relationship, there is a feeling of commitment to each other, and naturally one is absorbed on the other. And this becomes like a very natural, it's a very natural way, because there is love, it is possible to become absorbed. So similarly, when there is bhakti in the heart of a devotee, then naturally the samadhi becomes manifest. The devotee is fixed on serving the Lord and always thinking of how to do things for the pleasure of the Lord. As much as the boyfriend will want to do things for the pleasure of the girlfriend. So in today's verse, there is a very important difference is underlined, is that in other processes, there is a condition of difficulty and suffering. There is pain. Krishna means severe sacrifice, and many times painful and dry, because there is no love. When love is lacking, there cannot be the same power of absorption and power of chit shakti, or transcendental energy. It is to some degree, it is more or less artificial, because the original constitutional quality of the soul, Ananda, has not become uncovered. It is still covered to a certain extent by ego, or by a sense of considering oneself to be in the center. So this is very important, and we find in the beginning of chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita, maybe Sahadev Prabhu, if you want to post it, we can see there are 5 verses in the beginning in which Arjuna has asked the Lord, who are considered most advanced in yoga, those who worship you as a person, as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, or those who worship the unmanifested impersonal Brahman. Here we have it on the screen. We can read, there are actually 7 verses explaining this. Yeah, we won't go through the Sanskrit. If you later on you want to, you want to go through the Sanskrit, it's fine. We can look at it. It's good also. Yeah, it's fine. So the verse says, Evam satata yukta ye bhaktastuam parupasate ye chapi aksharamavyaktam tesham ke yoga vittamaham. This is Arjuna posing this question in front of the Lord, which are considered to be more perfect. Those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. And then the Lord replies in a very clear way, without any leaving any doubts about it. Maya veshya mano ye mam nitya yukta upasate shraddhaya parayope tas te me yuktatama mataha. The Lord says, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshiping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me most perfect. Then in verses 3 and 4, the Lord states that others who, if they are very serious in their transcendental processes, they finally also achieve me. So this is maybe referring to jnanis and yogis, like impersonalists and so on. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. And then in text number 5, the Lord explains the same principle mentioned in today's Bhagavatam verse. The Lord says, Klecho dikataraste sham avyakta sakta chetasan avyakta higatir dukkham dehavat bir avapyate. That for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Ultimately, we are persons, and as we are persons, so it is naturally easier to focus on the Supreme Person. For a person to focus on something abstract is much more difficult. And then in verses 6 and 7, the Lord gives another important principle connected to the superiority of bhakti over other processes. And this is mentioned in these 2 verses. So the Lord offers help to those who practice bhakti yoga. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. techam maham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha maya veshita chetasam. Krishna says, nachirat partha, it doesn't take long for me to rescue such devotees. This is also explained very, very expertly by Srila Jiva Goswami in his Bhakti Sandarbha commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Jiva Goswami wrote a treatise of six parts of his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the fifth, explaining the glories of Bhakti and how to perform Bhakti, the abhideya, or the process of the practice of Bhakti. So in the beginning, for a considerable part of his Bhakti Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami is presenting proofs from many sections from the whole Srimad Bhagavatam, which demonstrate that there are two very important results that arise naturally from Bhakti. When someone develops Bhakti, love for Krishna, or even not yet fully developed, but practicing Bhakti, because Bhakti is a constitutional position of the soul, naturally avidya, or ignorance. It is mentioned in the Vishnu Purana that there are three energies of the Lord: Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta, Chitta Gyakya Tata Para, Avidya Karma Samgyanya, Tritiya Shakti Ishyate. There are these three energies: the para energy, the superior energy, or Chit Shakti, the transcendental potency of the Lord. Then there is the living entity, Jiva Tattva, who has a tendency to get involved with matter, Kshetra Gyakya Tatapara, the knower of the Kshetra, the soul who knows the material nature or the material body where he is living in. And then the potency of avidya, or ignorance, which is connected to the karma bandhana, or the entanglement of fruitive activities, actions which tied the soul to a false life. Avidya karma samgyanya. So one of the two results explained in Srimad Bhagavatam arising from developing bhakti is that ignorance is destroyed. Tada rajastamo bhava kamalobhadayaschaye cheta etair. Who is that? Cheta etair. Anyway, stitam sattve prasidati. So by practicing bhakti, one becomes free from the modes of passion and ignorance, and the person becomes situated into goodness. Then from goodness, it is possible to move to knowing or experiencing directly the Supreme Lord. Evam prasannamanaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vikyanam. So like that, the Lord is perceived directly with divine emotion by someone who comes to the stage of Shuddha Sattva, or pure consciousness, pure goodness. So This is one of the results of bhakti. Avidya, ignorance, is completely destroyed. And that's for everybody. Everybody who practices bhakti, there is no need for any type of external qualifications. Like mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states in chapter 9, Mami partha vyapashritya episiu papayonayaha striyo vaishyas tatha shudras tepi yanti param gatim. That everyone, it doesn't matter what gender, what cultural background, what varna, what ashrama, in any condition of life, can be a person who is a worker, who is a business person, can be an intellectual, can be a manager, can be a woman, a man, anyone who surrenders unto me, Krishna says, that person will attain the supreme destination. And that's the second result mentioned by Srila Jiva Goswami, that arises from bhakti. So one becomes free from ignorance, one, and number two, one attains the supreme abode of the Lord, becomes qualified for this. And this is mentioned referring to the previous verse, to the text 46. It is mentioned as akunta vishnyam, that the devotees, they become eligible to enter to the place where there is no material anxiety. Akunta Vishnya, the transcendental realm of the Lord, also described as Vaikuntha, without the place where there is no anxiety. Yes, very good. This is from yesterday's verse. Akunta Vishnyam, Vaikuntha Loka in the spiritual sky. So this is what Srila Jiva Goswami proves with many, many verses from different sections of Srimad Bhagavatam, from different perspectives. And this you can also, if you study the Sandarbhas, Bhakti Sandarbha, you can read about it in the first part of the Sandarbha. And this is very good news for all of us, because that means if we remain sincerely and seriously engaged in Bhakti Yoga, in the association of Bhaktas, of Vaishnavas, the devotees of the Lord, which is a very important part of Bhakti, then naturally we will become free from ignorance, and hence also free from the accumulated karmic reactions that are there from time immemorial. And then we will be able to go back home, back to Godhead very soon. Very soon may mean in this very lifetime, or may mean like there may be, like we see in the Bhagavatam, also some devotees who show a few lifetimes, like even we see in the case of Bharata Maharaj or Narada Muni. But it is very soon, in very, very short time, one will be able to transcend the material world and go back home, back to Godhead. And this is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement, to reveal the process of bhakti, especially through Tannama Grahanadibi, the process of chanting the holy names of the Lord. It is like the main process, the Yuga Dharma, and also the process of hearing and remembering Krishna, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. So these processes of hearing, chanting, and remembering are the main angas, or the main processes of bhakti. So to reveal the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement is to reveal these processes of bhakti, to making them available for each and everyone, available for all without any discrimination. And then also by doing that, freeing the souls from ignorance and bringing everyone who accepts this transcendental gift back home, back to Godhead in very short time. Thank you very much for listening patiently. You are now welcome to ask questions or make comments as you consider appropriate.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Very beautiful Krishna Katha, and more especially the Bhagavad Gita verses to help clarify what Krishna states. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections. Tribhuvanat Prabhu, Hare Krishna, good to see you here, Hare Krishna. Bhakta Hassan, please give me unmute.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj. Please
Hare
kindly accept my
Krishna.
respectful obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada, and all glory to you, and all glory to the wonderful assembled devotees. Thank you for the wonderful class, and I'm very happy to see Lotus face again. Yeah, Maharaj, my question is, I'm a devotee, and I am sick, or I don't have money, and I have intention to offer sacrifice or ceremony to Lakshmi, so that I can get money to help me do devotional service. Or I am sick and I want to offer ceremonies to Sun to give me good health. Is it okay for devotee to do that, or you have to only depend on Krishna for everything? This is my humble question. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yes, thank you very much for the very nice question. Yes, for the devotee, there is no need to do anything else. One should simply take shelter of Krishna, and Krishna will provide. He promises this in Bhagavad Gita. Ananjas chintayanto mam jejana paripasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogaksheman vahamyaham. Krishna says that for those who worship me without deviation, I will bring what they need and will keep what they have. So Krishna takes care. We have, for instance, in the 80th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Leela of the Lord with his friend, devotee friend, Sudama Brahmana, Sudama Vipra. Krishna and Sudama have been together in the Gurukula, studying in Avanti in the school of Sandipani Muni. Even they were lost in the forest in an occasion that they went to take wood to bring to the ashram. That was a tradition. The boys living in the Gurukula will go to the forest and collect wood and different items required for the ceremonies. But what happened is that suddenly there was a very, very big storm, and they were completely lost in the forest. And Sandipani Muni, the spiritual master, was very anxious and sent. Actually, they had to stay, Krishna and Sudama stayed all night outside in the forest due to the storm. And in the early morning, after the storm had gone down, they were searching for them. And Sandipani Muni was very, very touched and very pleased of how much these two wonderful students had been sacrificing for him, practically risking their lives. So anyway, Krishna and Sudama had shared in childhood, but then as the Leela of the Lord unfolded, Krishna, in due course of time, he became king in Dwarka, and Sudama was a very poor Brahmana, very, very poor. So poor that it is mentioned that the veins in his body, he was very, very skinny, and the veins in his body will be visible, and his clothes will have many holes, almost as many holes as clothes. Very, he was dressing in rags. And his wife also was very, very poor. She was she was a wonderful devotee also, and she was kind of mortified that she couldn't take care of her husband properly. She couldn't serve him proper food, and they were very, very poor. So in one occasion, she told Sudama, look, we are very, very poor. It's very extreme, our condition. Please go. You have a friend, Krishna, from Gurukula. He's now a king in Dwarka, and he will be very happy to help you. Please go and see him. And she actually mentioned several times, Sudama didn't want to go to Krishna to ask him for anything. He just loved Krishna, but he didn't want to ask for anything material. Devotees, they trust that Krishna knows what is best for them, so they don't worry. They know Krishna will take care of me. Anyway, but Sudama, after his wife insisted, he took it as an opportunity to see his friend Krishna. And then he said, okay, I go to see Krishna, give me something what I can take for him. And she put some old cloth and put some flat rice. They were very poor, some flat rice in the old cloth and tied it up. And Sudama was taking it for Krishna. When he arrived to Krishna's, one of Krishna's palaces, where he was with his first queen, the first queen Krishna married in his Leela was Rukmini. Krishna had kidnapped her. This is another Leela, another pastime. So when Sudama arrived, Krishna was so happy to see him, and he welcomed him with great respect and seated him on his bed. And Rukmini herself was fanning him, and they gave a wonderful welcome, showing his love, washing his lotus feet, feeding him nicely, and so on. And Sudama forgot completely to ask anything to Krishna. He was there. There was one point where Krishna snatched from him, because Sudama was very ashamed. How can I give this very old flat rice? Krishna is living so opulently. This is not the proper offering. But Krishna said, I know you brought something for me, and snatched it from him and started to eat it very, very happily. Then Rukmini stopped him from continuing eating. That was enough. The Lord were satisfied in this way. So when Sudama was coming back home, he had forgotten to ask anything to Krishna. But then when he was arriving to the place where his little cottage was located, suddenly he saw it was as if it had become the heavenly planets. Everything was so opulent. There were beautiful ladies dressed very opulently. And then his wife came. When she came, he couldn't even recognize her in the beginning. And she was dressed so opulently. She was very, very happy. So the Lord had given Sudama and his wife much more than what he was expecting and he needed. And this is the Lord. Many times he reciprocates in unexpected ways according to the needs of each devotee. So that's why devotees don't need to go to anyone else, nor even demigods, in order to ask for any type of needs. Krishna will take care of the needs of the devotee. And if one is in a very extreme condition and one feels like you need to ask for help, then you can ask directly to Krishna. You can pray to Krishna. Krishna, I'm in a very difficult situation. Please, I need help. It's too much for me. I cannot take it anymore. And Krishna very kindly will reciprocate. Of course, when Krishna fulfills the desires of devotees, he will do it in such a way that the devotee will not ask again for something material, because Krishna will give himself to the devotee, and the devotee will experience such bliss that will not want any other thing. Or we'll do it in a way that the devotee will say, okay, I don't want anymore these material things. I have Krishna, so I have everything. I hope this answers.
Yes, yes, very, very much, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your question. And Maharaj, thank you for the elaborate answer to Dr. Hassan's question. Anyone else with something to ask or to share?
Before there was, I think, Mitavinda Mataji had.
Yes, I think I saw Mitravinda Devi's hand up. Mitravinda, are you still here?
She's welcome to ask.
Yeah, she's here. Mitravinda, if you're ready, you may unmute and ask your question. Oh, that's Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for being here again. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. In understanding aspiring to understand the process of bhakti, its meaning, and then implementing those aspects of understanding in one's life. In the world, there are so many times that we see body games in churches, in temples, in just about every field, every dynamic of expression, education, and experience in the world. And understanding the process, we're not our bodies, but we have these bodies as vehicles, yes? And so how can we overcome, or should I say, is it just individual personality aspects, either through lack of education, that don't understand the process, and thereby there's more suffering in the world based on body economics? How can we overcome that to really be colorblind in the sense that we're dealing with each other as souls versus our perspectives on colors?
Yes, I'm not sure if I understood the question. You mean about in terms of, for instance, different people from different countries and races and so on, and discrimination that may happen, or on the basis of the bodily concept of life?
Yes, Maharaj, my understanding is that to be racist is to be a permanent resident of hell, according to our Shastra. Yet racism, and I know there's karma and different things like that, and misunderstandings of karma um, that lead people to think that if one looks a particular way exteriorly, then their karma led them to look like that, and thereby I can discriminate or have a certain view on that, which leads to racism. And most recently, there have been, I'll just say, phrases relatable to, we're not going to have anything to deal with how people look, but how we look is we are definitely connected to Krishna, and karma is there, but Krishna makes no mistakes. Everything is the way Krishna wants it to be as the controller. But at the same time, we are responsible for how we treat others. There is a choice that we can make at any moment. And if we choose bhakti versus our perspectives based on social, economic, or exterior things relatable to not liking and treating people badly, getting beyond that is what I'm asking. What's the best way to do that?
Yes, by serving others. Like if we say if conditioning, a person has a tendency to discriminate on the basis of externals or economics to other people, if one serve others in different ways, like for instance, one of the essential principles of Vaishnava culture is Vaishnava Seva, serving the Vaishnavas, serving the devotees. And this should be done regardless of external considerations. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, for instance, we find the case of one devotee named Kalidas, who got the special mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he was serving all the devotees and he was taking the remnants of food of all the devotees, regardless of their social economic backgrounds. So, for instance, he took the remnants of one family, the family of Yadu Thakur, who was a devotee like Shudra Mahajan coming from a non-Brahminical family. And then Lord Chaitanya gave a special mercy to Kalidas, letting him get the water that had washed his lotus feet when he was entering, before he entered the Jagannath temple in Jagannath Puri. And he would not allow others to get that such a mercy. The Lord prohibited his personal attendants from anyone to take the water that had washed his feet. But he did allow to Kalidas because he was so pleased with him that even though he was coming from a Brahmana family, he was not discriminating towards any Vaishnava. So this will be a very practical way of doing it. We serve all devotees without discrimination. And also Jive Doya, compassion for the jivas. When we preach, we also approach everyone without discriminating. These are two ways we can do that. I hope this answers the question, but mainly it's by action. We should do something. For the devotees, we may have prejudices in our minds about. We should do something for the devotees without discriminating. Is that okay?
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I truly appreciate your answer. Um, I could see in your face when you were speaking that you're connected to the bhakti process in this way of compassion and caring for living entities and devotees in that way. And I I hope that you'll be able to speak more on the aspects of compassion and devotion in our communities.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Any other
Hare,
questions?
Hare Krishna. Anyone else with something?
Okay, otherwise, if it's for today, I guess that's fine. And maybe next month we can meet again. If Krishna allows, we can again meet.
Maharaj, I have one question. Oh, okay. The devotee should go. Please unmute and ask your question. Tribhunath, did you have a question?
I want to appreciate Maharaj first. Maharaj, thank you for your coming. You stress a particular point, which I think is essential in times of bhakti. Before I talk later on that, I want to thank Sade Prabhu for your consistency in this program. We hold you a lot, seeing this program growing all the time. Thank you so much. Maharaj, sometimes when we hear speaker, oftentimes they mention that one need to be sincere in times of bhakti. We have also seen the sastra. They are exemplary people who are actually sincere. But at the end of the day, we also find some fault in them. So how do we balance that, Maharaj?
Yeah, we should become like bees searching for the honey or the nectar, searching for the qualities, and like the tendency of course faults may be there because in this world always there may be faults or apparent faults, but it's better to focus on the good qualities, because on that which we focus, then naturally we will develop such qualities. It will see the world according to that which we focus. We can choose we can choose to focus on the virtues of a devotee or on the defects of a devotee. Like for instance, we have heard from the Mahabharata how Dronacharya sent Maharaj Yudhishthira to search for someone who was worse than him, and then he sent Duryodhana to find someone better than him. When Duryodhana came back, he had so much false ego. He thought he was the best. He was not able to see someone better than him. But Yudhishthira Maharaj said that actually everyone I met had something, was able to do something I was not able to do. Therefore, they are better than me. So we can always see every devotee and every person we meet, they have qualities Krishna has given them we may not have. And in this way we can learn and we can develop the favorable heart of a pure devotee by looking into the qualities of others. So we can follow in the footsteps of personalities like Maharaj Yudhishthira and other great devotees mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam and also Srila Prabhupada and many of his disciples, preachers who are giving and have given wonderful examples and focus on the qualities, on the virtues, and then naturally we also will become like that.
Maharaja, I think I want to say thank you. You used the word apparent. That it has a significance to the question I've asked. An example also the instance you gave about Yudhishthira. There is also an instance, that also somehow act against Yudhishthira. For instance, we can remember, or I can remember, to the best of my knowledge, that Yudhishthira performed two great sacrifices. One before the war, and the second one after the war. The one before the war was the Yajasuya sacrifice, and the second one after the war was the Ashwamedha sacrifice. So when he performed that Ashwamedha sacrifice, there was a lot of veneration that the Yagya was first class, extremely. All the rishis and sages and brahmana who partake on that festival, on that yagya, they actually glorify him in a more extreme way. But behold, as the yagya was going to an end, a Ponkupai walked in. And this Ponkupai, within the body, part of his body there is gold, and the other part is just a normal body of a Ponkupai. So instantly, this Ponkupai began to criticize Yudhishthira. He said, what you have done is just bogus. What you have done is simply bogus. There is nothing pious in it. There is no wonderful thing in it. So everybody who were, the participant of this yagya who was almost going, they start to retreat their step back to see what is going on. So the Ponkupan said, I will give you an instance. Then the Ponkupan cite an instance. He said there was a Brahmana who has nothing. The Brahmana has his wife, his daughter, and his in-law. So this Brahmana has simply nothing. So one time he was about to eat something that he has gone to struggle to beg. Then a visitor knocked. And this visitor said that he need just simply water. So the Brahmana opened to give water. As soon as the visitor enters inside the room, he saw that the Brahmana and his family, they wants to eat what he has gone to beg. He has divided it into 4 parts. So he said, okay, since I have drinking water, the water has given me some appetite to eat. Please, I need some part of it. Okay, the Brahmana gave his own part. So after finishing the Brahmana's own part, he said he needs the wife's own part. So this scenario goes on, and at the end of the day, the 4 part that was divided for the family was given to this particular visitor who has entered inside. So as soon as the visitor left, these 4 persons fasted and they passed away. So when they passed away, they instantly was transferred to Golok. So what happened? So the Ponkupai who have seen these things, he went close to where the remnant of the food that which this Brahmana had, which the visitor have ate, and he used his body to rub, trying to eat. Then the body was rubbing, the prasad besides. So the part of the body that touched the prasad become good, while the other aspect remained the same. So he said these were actually a pious, what he considered as bhakti. He said because the Brahmana has nothing, but he was very open to the service of the Lord. Therefore, the Lord grant him bhakti. But you who is considered to be a bhakta of the Lord, when I heard about your sacrifice, I came to see if I can get the other part of my body to become good. And all the remnant, I tried to rub my back and front, but still there was nothing. Signifies that, what you have done is not bogus. So Yudhishthira actually learned something from it. So because you cite Yudhishthira as an exemplary aspect of, being sincere in times of bhakti, so I brought these things to, for your reference also to see the question is still pending,
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, thank you for sharing that. My apologies, I had a very brief interruption in my connection, so I was kicked out. But Maharaj, if you still may be able to take one or two more questions. Devotees, anyone
Okay, I
have
can do that.
its realizations? Maharaj, I have this question. Sometimes it is said in the scriptures that there are three classes of transcendentalists. Sometimes it says two, but basically it's the personalists and impersonalists. And in today's text, I do not doubt what the demigods are saying, but how come that the demigods are saying that the Baptists do not go through as much pains as the impersonalists, like the yogis and the jnanis? But we see in this material world, at least on this earth planet, that it is more difficult for the general people to accept personalist philosophy than impersonalist philosophy. The impersonalist philosophy is so attractive to most people than the personalist philosophy. And again, it is much easier for the impersonalists to expand and build more temples than the personalists, because they have lots of well-wishers and people who get attracted to their teachings. So my question is, why does Krishna allow such things to take place? Where Krishna himself, from the various verses you showed us from the Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna himself says, what pleases him most is the personal aspect. Yet, Krishna does not seem to bless those who are worshiping him in the personal aspect, as much as we see from the impersonalists. If you may help, why Krishna allows this to happen?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, one consideration that we need to take into account to put your question into the right perspective is that the impersonalists of nowadays are not necessarily, the majority of them, there may be also some, many, what we will call bogus gurus from impersonal path. I mean, of course, Srila Prabhupada will say bogus gurus cannot be, because if it is bogus, cannot be guru. But meaning people who pose themselves as spiritual masters without practicing seriously a process of self-realization. So it's important to underline the difference of those who strictly follow the processes of jnana and yoga, like jnanis and yogis from the past, following like Sri Shankaracharya and their strict followers, and usually they will practice very extreme penances, what we were mentioning before as a krichra, or these very severe austerities. So that's why there is the suffering, because the amount of penance they practice, even sometimes coming to the point that almost torturing the body in order to become detached from the body, is not balanced or not compensated, as mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in the purport, by the bhakti, because if they are lacking bhakti, then they have the austerities. For instance, devotees may take nice Krishna prasadam. Prasadam is very delicious, but such yogis and jnanis, they will not take rich food because they will say, no, this will go against my spiritual advancement. That's their concept. And therefore, there is this difficulty, or this pain is mentioned because it is much more austere. Then when we talk about so-called gurus who are not really practicing much even of the jnana processes, then that's a different category. This will not be exactly, of course they will have to as mentioned in the Sri Upanishad, by misguiding people, they will have to suffer for that, for teaching people about a spiritual life in a wrong way. But it's different in that it's important to differentiate those who are genuine in their process of jnana and yoga from those, like nowadays, there is a lot in the age of Kali in which such practices are not performed seriously. So I hope this sheds some light. There is some difference there.
Yes, Maharaj, it does. It does. In fact, some time ago, I used to think that because I have the desire to attain Krishna in this lifetime, even though I'm not doing as much as I should, I'm not doing what I should be doing in order to attain Krishna. But I have that desire. So some time ago, I used to think that if Krishna kills an individual, that individual attains liberation. So I could become a big demon. And then when I get killed by Krishna, I will attain Krishna. Then I studied the lifestyle of such great demons, and there is no way I can do that. So I decided, okay, let me try to remain a devotee. So, but Srila Prabhupada states something in the purport which kind of adds to the answer you gave to my question, but I still would like you to, I humbly request that you give me a little bit more insight about what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Srila Prabhupada is saying here that one may suggest that there is sufficient labor for the devotees also in the matter of discharging devotional service. But that labor is compensated by the enhancement of transcendental pleasure. Now, there are some of us, especially myself, I see mostly the sufficient labor for discharging devotional service. I do not see the enhancement of transcendental pleasure. There is no much compensation because I am not doing as much as I should be doing. Therefore, this transcendental pleasure is not there. So most of the time, all I see is the discomfort. I know whether I serve Krishna or not, there will be discomfort in my life. But I was thinking that when one tries to serve the Lord, his life situation should be eased. But I'm not trying to be ungrateful to Krishna. I'm not saying that. But I am thinking that if someone takes to the path of Krishna consciousness, the this labor obviously is going to be there, but the compensation oftentimes is not there. And why is the compensation not there? I assume someone is not performing the devotional service as he or she should. And the question is, why that is the case? Why am I not doing it the way I know it's supposed to be done, even though I may know that this is how it's supposed to be done, yet I do not do it that way?
Yes, you are right when you say that the compensation of transcendental pleasure may not be there due to our deficiencies in practicing the process of bhakti. So how to do it? Then we need to take help by sadhu sangha, or by devotees who are inspired, who are advanced. We should take inspiration from them, and then in this way we'll be able to again connect to the processes of bhakti properly performed. It may mean also to increase the quantity and the quality of chanting, hearing, and the direct processes of bhakti. Sometimes we may be too absorbed in other activities, so it's required that we give sufficient attention and quantity as well for hearing and chanting. Then naturally this will bring about the compensation. Like, it's important that the amount of austerity we perform in devotional service is balanced with bhakti activities that will give us this compensation. Of course, we cannot force our way in, meaning that the compensation will be given by the Lord when He deems appropriate. So sometimes also, it's like when Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will say, do not try to see God, but act in such a way that God will want to see you. So similarly, do not try to get into, to snatch this transcendental pleasure by force, but one should serve in sincere ways, and then the Lord will give it when He considers appropriate. The Lord may test devotees. So, but yes, you are right. You could say that when we are not yet mature enough in bhakti, we may have such a need for increase the compensation with transcendental pleasure. That may be need may be there.
Well, thank you so much, Maharaj. Srimad Acharya Prabhu, please, you may unmute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisance, Maharaj. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for being here. Please excuse the sound. I'm driving. Well, just to permit me a little contribution to Sahadev Prabhu's question. I think what the scripture tells us is that we actually get more than what we deserve when we serve Krishna. So, in our own estimation, we may be thinking that maybe we're not getting compensation commensurate with what we're doing. But who is the judge? Who is the judge? Are we the judge of our own activities? The scripture actually informs us that if we take one step towards Krishna, Krishna also takes one step towards us. But Krishna's one step cannot be compared with our own one step. So in most cases, we're getting much more than we deserve as reward for our service. And the last point is also that we also don't know how much baggage of simple reactions that we are actually uploading through our devotional service. So what we may be looking forward to as compensation may actually be that it is already offsetting our bad load of karma, and we may not see it. We may not see it yet in terms of some positive, manifestation to what we can appreciate. But what we do not see is the bad load of karmic debt that is being erased through our devotional effort. That we do not see. That only if we can see that we will be on our knees every day thanking Krishna for how much He's given us that we are not aware of. Thank you very much. That's just my little contribution.
Very good points. Thank you very much. Very good.
Thank you so much, Shivarajan Prabhu, and thank you so much, Maharaj. And since Maharaj, you're here, well, I had mentioned that I am not attempting to be ungrateful to the Lord, but I'm just a little crazy human being, so I'm asking for more. But I appreciate what the Lord is already doing for me, and I believe this applies to devotees in general also. And Maharaj, our humblest submission to you today while being here with us is that, like you said, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, we should not strive to see Krishna, but we should work so hard in such a way that Krishna would want to see us. That we develop this attitude that no matter what, we're going to stay under the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. And this is our humblest prayer, that you bless us with this humble request that under any circumstances, whatever the situation may be, we take shelter at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and try to serve him and please him.
Yeah, may it be so by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and his servants.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to read and discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, and we can keep in touch. Maybe some next opportunity I can join you again.
Yes, thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to His Holiness YADUNANDANA Swami Maharaj for sharing with us his love, wisdom, and time. Please, you may all unmute. Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpa, Surabhyascha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo, Vishnavabhyo Namo Namaha.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.